I believe my final reincarnation happened on June 20th, 2019. My previous reincarnation was in August of 2011. Before you become skeptical, please let me explain. In late summer of 2011, and having just turned 23, I drove from Central California to Western North Dakota. Recalling the events doesn't even feel real, but they happened. In vivid detail, I remember finding work in a foreign industry and feeling so vulnerable and so new in an oil and gas industrial setting. My kids were barely a year and 2 years old, and I did my best to raise a family. I spent the better part of the following decade working for the monster, traveling from oil rig to oil rig, servicing wellheads, all while attempting as best I could to raise a young family. But the continuous abuse of drugs and alcohol throughout my 20s eventually caught up to me, and I lost everything. And when I say I hit rock bottom, I didn't just hit the bottom. I spontaneously combusted on impact and became both the rock and the whole floor. There was no bouncing back, because to bounce back would mean returning to a world of familiarity, and there was nothing familiar about the night of June 20th, 2019. That was the night I began walking across the country, and to say I was completely loaded is an understatement. I was in no position to walk thousands of miles. I was a drunk and a drug addict. I had moved around so frequently, with no sense of community, and was too incapable and too numb to source any rehab or detox facilities, or even go to a hospital. And that night I had walked around the revolving door of abstinence and relapse for the final time. I walked out of mine and my kids' mom's shared space and into my final incarnation, with nothing more than the clothes on my back, the shoes on my feet, and a few dollars. I began my 1,700-mile journey first in a state of physical detoxing, and after I began the long, slow journey of psychological detox. My addiction had closed so many neurological pathways, and the act of repaving my broken road in itself is a miracle. And I repaved my broken road back to myself. I returned to nature, and on the pathway back of returning to self, I began re-experiencing how my younger self coped with traumas, and I taught him how to forgive, and I taught him how to let go, and I taught him how to live in the moment, however chaotic it may be. And now, here I sit, the same lost little boy who was found and nurtured by his future self, to learn what happiness with little means, and to learn how to trust in himself, and to learn how to trust in others, and to experience his faith through his God, who he calls by name, Yeshua, and Source.